Page 62. O Store Gud. Good or good? Good. This is a melody from How Great Thou Art. C major. No sharps or flats, but it does have accidentals. 4/4 time with a beat and a half pickup. So we're coming in on the end of 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Like so. Right hand first. The melody is the top note in the right hand, so if you can play it out a little louder, then that's what we want to hear. But we have these chords to deal with, so we want to try and get the melody legato if we can, and we do the best we can with the other notes. So, and then B flat, and then come across to the 2/4, and then 3/5. That's fine. For the next one, I recommend a 1-2-4, and then 1-2-3, and then 2-4, and then 1-2-5 or 1-3-5, either one. 1-3-5 works. This way I can do the melody legato, and then you lift up. And I recommend a 1-2-4 here in the second line, the first eighth note that you play after the tied eighth note here. And then 1-2-5, and then 1-2-4, actually a 1-2-3, if your hand's big enough, 1-2-3. Otherwise you have to come down 1-2-4 and let the pedal help you out to connect the notes. And then if it's 1-2-3, you can do 1-2-4. If you have to do 1-2-4 here, then it's 1-2-5. A lot of numbers there. Third line. Their fingering is fine. These rolled chords, the wavy line, that's. Don't hold these other notes down on this chord. They're just eighth notes. So the second one is by itself. And then lift up at the end of the phrase. And then third finger. See, a lot of people, they have the tendency, including me, of on these notes like the first measure, the last line there, they tend to hold these notes down. And technically they're not. They would need to be written as quarter notes for that, so don't hold them down here. The pedal will keep them sounding, but technically we want to try and be correct, so play them as eighth notes. Going on. And reach down. At page 63, the first line, the lift up and go up. And the second measure on the eighth notes at the end of the measure, they're saying 2-5 because this helps you with this jump. That's actually very good. Yeah, I like that. I like that fingering. You're losing the legato here, but you're preparing for a nasty move here, and so that's good. The pedal will help us out. Last line on page 63, you're here. This is the same as the first measure in the second line on page 62. So just do it the same way. You can do a 1-2-4. 1-2-3, and for the second ending, and then here, watch the accidentals, and then here. You get the rest of it. Left hand has to stay soft. It's just supporting here. Broken chords. And watch the fingering at the end of the first line. They want a 3 on that last C. Cross up. We do that so we can play the left hand legato. So by doing a 3 on that last C, then you cross cross up for the fourth finger for the next line here. You're in position. And then fourth finger. I like that fingering, it's very nice. Third line. This bottom note on these, in the first full measure there with the wavy line, all of these notes are done together as one chord. And I do the bass note on the beat. And then they're saying 3-5 or 5-3 for the E flat, G flat. That's fun. At the bottom of page 63, here, reach down with fourth finger, thumb on the G, then the second ending there at the end. I recommend on the broken chord on the second E, you use second finger instead of third. This way it makes it easier to reach the A flat. And then 4, I like that, 4 on the C. See, this is a chord. That's what we're doing. Just, and then 5-2, and then you come up here and down. And that has an 8 VA under it, so you come way down. So once you worked out the hands one hand at a time, try putting them together. Let's see if we can add a little dynamics while we're at it. So at the beginning, it's medium loud, and then go up to loud. That's where we want. Crescendo at the end of the line from loud to very loud. Come back down to medium loud and go back up to loud again. Then come down to medium loud is fine. And then in the third line, now we're soft. That soft applies to this melody. Everything else has to be very soft. Through this whole thing, and then at the end of the first line on page 63, now we go back up medium loud here, which is louder than you've been, and then your crescendo up to a loud. You're going to stay loud till the bottom. Now you're going to crescendo from the last measure of the third line. You start crescendoing up. And you can stay loud, or you can come back down to medium loud and go back up, because this time at the bottom you go up to fortissimo, very loud. This is the loudest part of the whole piece. So the last line there, that's where you're at. That's very loud. You stay there. And then the fermata, and then hold that out a little bit, and then you're going to repeat back over to page 62, third line, where the reverse repeats on, and you're soft. So you're landing this very loud, and then you all of a sudden soft. And that's important that we have that contrast in there. If you do the second ending, you're very loud. And there's a molto ritardando there. That means slow down a lot. So here. And the pedal will help connect it all and make it exciting. So we need to add the phrasing in. So let's do that, but let's go ahead and add the pedal too, because the pedal needs to support the phrasing. So at the beginning, we have to pedal this rather carefully, or it gets really mushy. And people normally when they play this, they just over pedal it, and it just ugh. So at the beginning we don't pedal. However, I'm going to recommend you put the pedal down with the last note in the pickup measure. When you play the C, put the pedal down there. The reason is because I cannot connect the C and the E. because the C is needed again in the chord, so I have to get off of it so I can play it in the chord. See, there's a little silence there. I don't want that, so I'm going to use the pedal to connect them. So, and then change the pedal at the bar line. So it's only down for half a beat there. And then lift it up. I would put it down to the next measure. And I'm going to lift it up here for the phrase. I'm going to lift it up with the right hand so we get a phrase. And change it with each eighth note. And the second line, first measure, I'm going to change it when I do the GB in the left hand. That's a different harmony. I don't want to smear this with that. So change it here. And then lift it up so we get a phrase. And then lift it up at the end of the second line before we go on, because that's the introduction. Now we go to the piece. This is overlapping pedal. At the end, the bottom line on page 62, second measure. I lift the pedal up when I play. Well, actually, you can lift it up when you raise the right hand for the half note, because you have a rest. When you lift the right hand up, lift the pedal up with it. So that way we hear the rest. And then you can put it down when you play the chord in the left hand. So that measure is here. Again, at the end of the first line on page 63, I'm going to lift the pedal up with the half note in the right hand, so I hear a rest in the right hand. And then I'm going to put it down after I play the chord in the left hand. And this is like it was over in the first line on page 62. The third line on page 63, third line down, first measure, I'm going to lift the pedal with the right hand after the half note, and I'm not putting it down until the fourth beat. Now, the last line here. Here they're telling you to change the pedal. Last time they didn't. That's good. And I want a little silence before I go on. So I'm going to lift the pedal with the hands, and then, because it's a new phrase. And then at the end of the first ending there, I'm going to lift the pedal with the hands so there's silence before I repeat. But in the second ending, you're loud. Together it's legato. Keep it down, and at the end, the pedal and the hands come up at the same time. Give you some options here. It depends on what you like to hear and how your fingers are working. This first line, this part where, and you get the same thing in the second line on page 63. If you'd like to smooth that out a little more, then we simply pedal it a little more, but we have to be careful not to make it messy. So let's go to the top of page 62. And then here, if you want to pedal the next, and then I'm pedaling it like they show here, pedal the last beat. Now only pedaling the last beat because I need help connecting the notes in the right hand. It sounds too choppy with the bottom. Let's try this together very slowly, just to check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do any of the dynamics or any of that. I just want to play it so you can check your notes and rhythms. And we are going to do the repeat. So I'm going to go 1 and 2 and 3, and then we begin. So go ahead and put your hands where they go. Foot's on the pedal. 1 and 2 and go.